Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Wow, I can hear you very well.
Oh, that's very good then.
Yes.
Hello, Fear
Is
Dragon.
Ravi muted?
I don't know, maybe.
He doesn't like us.
Oh.
Oh, good.
it's because you asked why he's here.
I don't blame him. He's still muted. I mean, maybe it's better this way.
Rude. Um. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully he's getting whatever it is fixed. You want to try watch with replay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It won't join the call, says Fear Dragon. But you are on the call. Okay.
Yeah.
Can he hear us? I wonder. So you want to first watch with others? So what do you want to do exactly?
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you kind of like general questions about the patch and the maps to start things off. Then we're gonna go into each individual matchup for about 10 minutes each, just because there's not much time. And then end with talking about like your predictions for Katowice. And then particularly I want to get kind of like any details you think that we're commonly missing as commentators in some of the the openers, for instance, PvP especially, and then also any insight you have on the people that you faced, like trends that they have. If you face Raynor, does he always do this versus X, something like that?
Okay, yeah, I can try it. Like, there are some people who I do customs with, and it would be unwise of me to share their secrets based on the custom games, but I'll share whatever I think is reasonable to share.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Hey.
Start downloading. Hello. Can you
Ooh,
hear us now?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Discord was not letting me join the call before.
It was secret call.
Tried so hard to keep me out of here, but destiny arrives all the same.
All right, so I'm pretty sure Watch the Others is broken.
Yes, yeah, because it just fits like a previous patch. So should we watch it like separately at the same like I'm not sure how you want to do it.
Yeah, we kind of did this with Showtime yesterday. If there's anything in particular that you're like, oh, I think this is really interesting, you guys might not pick up on this, absolutely tell us. Otherwise, we kind of just like both scrolled through it, and then if I had a question, Showtime was usually ahead of us and just like scrolled back. So
What the hell? You did it with Showtime already? What do you think I have to add?
we did it with Showtime and Estrella, and now you're the last Protoss. It's been a Protoss week.
Did you analyze with Showtime the games that I won versus him?
We did not. No. Yeah. Okay. So that's just special for you.
Yeah. Nice. The prize. Okay. Sure.
Okay. So let's start off with that. I put the replays in a folder.
Okay, so Ancient Babylon is Ancient Cistern is versus Showtime, and Babylon versus Showtime as well. And versus Raynor, it's Gresvan and New Humanity.
Where in the world did I? Oh, I know where I know what I did. Hop over back to Europe.
So we're doing Showtime first?
Yeah, let's do PvP first. Well, actually, first of all, let's go ahead and just talk about the patch. Yeah, your kind of general thoughts on the patch and the maps for all the matchups.
Yeah, I mean, like it's very hard to be positive as a Protoss player. I think for the patch, there's like nothing to really look forward as a Protoss player for this patch. Like some patches in the past could at least have some cool changes, and here's like mostly nerfing what's like not fun to play against Protoss. Let's say the Disruptors are not fun to play against, so they get nerfed. Like there's just nothing really cool for the Protoss player. There's like maybe like the Abduct nerf for the Viper is the main thing I would say that Protoss would be happy about. But other than that, I would say it's like a pretty underwhelming patch for the Protoss players. Like we get the shorter upgrades, which is the best thing really in this patch, but it's not really that significant. So yeah, for PvP will be changed a little bit, maybe because of the Sentry build time and movement speed. Well, maybe not necessarily the movement speed, but the build time. Sentry Stalker was one of like the best, well, not best, but like the most common openers in PvP. And now with the Sentry being a little bit faster, you might have a little bit more time to scout for some kind of, I don't know, either like proxies, all ends, or just get the information slightly faster. So it might like change the PvP a little bit. I'm not sure how impactful this is going to be for the other matchups. I think for PvT, the biggest change from the Protoss side will be the shield battery change and the EMP being bigger without the upgrades. I think both this combined and the Raven being slightly faster will make it a little bit more turn favored because the harassment of the Raven will be slightly faster. The timings with the free ghosts were quite common in PvT already, and now the EMP will be slightly larger, while also Disruptor being slightly lower radius. But like I think the Disruptor change itself is like not very noticeable, I would say. Like like the maximum amount of damage sure can be noticeable, but you rarely get a maximum shot, I would say, with a Disruptor. And for PvZ, well, the Hydra speed is like it can be a noticeable change, and I think it's a big change overall. But Hydras are not the biggest threat for ZVP because we have like a good counter to the Hydras itself. There will be like timings with like Hydra Link Bane or maybe transitioning into Lurkers where Hydras will be slightly stronger because of the movement speed. But we already have Storm, we have the Disruptors, we have the Colossus to deal with the Hydras. So the Hydras themselves are not the problem, but like the combination and the more safety of the Hydras might become a problem. And then again, the Viper change might be nice for the late game, but then again, the worst part is for PvZ late game, the carrier change, where the interceptors are not, targeted by 1A. So if you just 1A your army, you still kill the carriers instead of the interceptors. So the tanking part of the carrier is pretty much gone, and this could be a huge impact, much bigger than people think, I think.
Okay, yeah. Showtime was also talking about that. It would be a huge impact.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, exactly. Bringing up, specifically that like there's no longer that overkill factor that would happen because we're going to expect the pro gamers to shift click. So that was fair enough. But then when they shift click, right, they also overkill. They have like 20 corruptors, and now that would be an issue. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, because if you sorry, go.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask, kind of related to that. Have you noticed that like more Protoss players are trying to steer away from like late game? Is it like that bad, or is it kind of just it's sort of tough right now?
Well, like from my perspective, I haven't seen like a lot of late game PVZs overall, like from other Protosses. But from my perspective, I haven't been practicing super much. I'm not in the best shape right now. But the games that I have practiced with the Zergs, with the Serals, Lambos, and so on, like I rarely get into the late game scenario with the carriers. The maps are quite large, and it's like hard to get to the late game scenario without just dying or trying to kill the Zerg. Like I haven't had like a split map scenario yet with the patch, so it's really hard for me to say if this is going to be as impactful. I just didn't survive long enough. I'm still the worst player than they are, but like if we would have like an equal match right now, like I would be able to test it. But for now, I was the worst player, so I didn't really survive to that part.
Gotcha. Sorry, going back to something you said earlier, also on PvT, I'm really curious. With the shield battery change and also the Raven change, are there any like builds or like styles and stuff that you're kind of feel like you just don't want to do as much anymore, or like you're trying to steer away from any openings that you're like, this feels like it's just going to be too hard to pull off now?
Well, too hard to pull off is hard to say because, like, no matter, like, even in the previous patch, I had troubles with PvT and like defending the very first timing attacks of the turn. I think just the first timing attack of the turn is just going to be stronger. The Raven is faster, so the harassment is going to be faster, and it's not like the turret change. Even though it's like 100 HP, you still need to pull probes away from the middle line. You don't want to lose them, even though it's like more possible to fight it out to turret straight up and leave 3 or 4 stalkers to deal with the Raven. It's still like a big change. Plus the DPS of the Terran army, there's a little overkill, and so the battery change will be the most noticed, I think, in this matchup. And I'm curious to see if we will be able to see exactly if the nerf is going to be like actually noticeable, because I think the shield battery is still very, very strong, and you kind of want to avoid fighting that. But in the upcoming tournaments or just tournament games, we'll be able to see if the Terrans have figured out if the shield battery is like significantly worse or not. But yeah, when it comes to the playstyles, I think like the no Stargate playstyles, the Blinks playstyles, because of the Raven change, I think are going to be slightly worse. Especially since you can like swap the add-ons from the tech lab of the starport to get faster siege tanks and so on. I think that can have some kind of significance.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Damn, nice and detailed. Exactly what I want. All right, so yeah, I think that's kind of in line with what a lot of people are saying. the Raven harassment also becoming particularly annoying thanks to the way the maps are designed. So Showtime was bringing up that like oracles and PvP are great because there's a lot of space for the oracles to hide. And then I was like, oh, but that's Ravens and PvT, right? So have you also experienced that? Do you think that Ravens kind of get a buff, if you will, from the maps, the amount of dead space?
Yeah, there's a lot. Like it's not only the Raven, but also the Medivacs. Idling with a Widowmine drop. There are plenty of timing attacks of a turn where they idle with both the Medivac and the Raven, and the Medivac and the Raven can go to either one of the two bases. Sorry,
Right.
one of the two bases. So like you kind of need to split your army, and then there's also a frontal attack at the same time. And I think it's very difficult to defend. However, it's not impossible. I think a lot of the PvTs that I saw a lot is a little of an exaggeration, but some of the PvTs that I watched from MaxPax, for example, he was going for Storm, and with feedback does prevent the Raven harassment, right? You can feedback the Raven, which is even idling in the idle spot. Somewhat same with the Medivac, but you don't kill the Medivac with the Widow Mines inside, but at least you can like damage it, and then the moment they try to fly in, you need to leave less Stalkers to deal with that. So maybe High Templar styles will be more used. The High Templar got a little movement speed buff as well, so it's something, but yeah, I think that's something like that.
Oh, that is interesting. I haven't seen that PvT from him yet. Or maybe I did and I just completely forgot. He's still forgetting a lot. It's all I've seen.
Frigating with Blink, then transitioning into either the High Templars or Colossus. I saw just a couple of Storm games, same with CJ Hero. And CJ Hero is like DPG, but I still call him CJ Hero.
Yeah, of course.
The hero.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. I'm going to be on the lookout for that. Let's go ahead and jump into the PvPs, starting with Babylon.
Babylon. That was game number 2. We should maybe start with game number 1 because the mind games.
Sure, go ahead. So that's Cistern, right?
Ancient Cistern, yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I don't even remember what I did in this. That's like a week ago. Let me see. It's loaded for me?
Yep, I'm in.
Okay, cool. Do you watch on just standard or just scroll or whatever?
We can go ×2 at least.
×2, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you start to remember particular points, you can direct us.
Of course. Okay. Let me see. It's just a standard 2-gate expand. Yeah, like some of these, like at least in the previous map pool, it was pretty much all 1-gate expand. This is much more different in the current map pool. There are less maps with ramps going to the natural. I actually don't know how many there are with ramps, or I'm still not that familiar with the new maps. I haven't played this much. But yeah, you can definitely expect less 1-gate expanding. And yeah, like for example, if MaxPax would be still involved in Katowice, you would probably see him lose more to the 4 gates or whatever, the kind of pressures that would kill the 1-gate expander without the ramp. The maps are like there's a lot of hiding spots. Like you can see, I think I was going Proxy Robo, I think. And here the good old check, the skill check and the mind game check, because Proxy Robo is so popular, or at least was so popular, and was kind of unpopular for some time, that when you just do it and like you make it obvious, they might think you're not doing it, So like just like a double mind game. I was just not trying to even hide the Proxy Robo. And yeah, you can see Showtime is scouting all around the map with the double probes. But I do it in a position where it's like easy scoutable, but it's too obvious to scout there,
Sure, yeah.
Okay. And then yeah, there's like a Stalker move out, 4 Stalker versus 2 Stalkers. Showtime didn't believe I'm actually proxying anything, so he expanded. And he's going for Robo. I think I lost the Stalker. No, I didn't lose the Stalker. So yeah, now I'm moving out with the Immortal. And now, like at 3 minutes 30, Showtime has spotted my Proxy Robo, but his response was already decent. He goes for like a Robo behind the expansion. So like, if I was in Showtime's position, this is what I would like as well. But I think with the Proxy Robo in PvP, it's a lot about the control. Not necessarily about the tech switches or like the amount of units you have. If you control your units well, you can fight even like the unfavorable fights. The War Prism gives you so much potential.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to go up the ramp and snipe the Immortal with forces, but I fail. And then I go for the harass with the Warp Prism. Since he has no natural, I want to find some damage, since he most likely has more probes than me, and which he did. So I put the idle Warp Prism, but he catches my army. This is the significant part, because I have an idle Warp Prism, if you can pause at like 5-minute mark. Yeah, the significant part is that with the Warp Prism, in the top right corner of the map, obviously I want to harass, but he sees it. But yeah, he just goes down the ramp. Even if I would like force field the ramp, he could use the Warp Prism and the Immortals and the Adepts to snipe my army, because my army is not going to be strong enough on the low ground with the Immortal and the Warp Prism being in the corner. So I just unpause now. I went for the Disruptors because I thought he's going to be either camping on top of the ramp, or it would be like an expansion defense, and Disruptors are good at breaking the expansions. And I continuously made Adepts and Immortal because this is just the cheapest units, and this is the first mistake of Showtime by walking up. And notice here in like the 6-minute mark, I'm keeping the Warp Prism with the Disruptor inside. I don't unload it immediately, but I keep it in the Warp Prism for the mind game, so he's not prepared to pre-split. I only drop the Immortal. I am pulse now. I only drop the Immortal when I'm sure I get a decent hit or a decent fight, a committed fight. Because otherwise he can just retreat, right, with the army and put key units into the Warp Prism while retreating, and then my Disruptor is becoming useless. So I got a good fight because of that.
Cool.
He goes for the Phoenix. The Phoenixes would counter the Disruptor as well. If I didn't get a good fight in the middle of the map, Showtime would be in a very good position there. But yeah, because the main fight was like in a perfect time and in a perfect position for me, he just couldn't really take care of the counter attack. And yeah, like again, like just the micro battle, as you can see with Robo versus Robo, you can get some kind of like mind game, some positioning of the units, and that will give you a big advantage in PvP, I would say.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then you win the game.
And it's just win the game, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of questions. So, right off the bat, you're talking about like mind games, and like, you know, he already had gone to a Robo before he even knew that it was, before he officially knew that it was actually proxy Robo. What happens if it isn't? What happens if, you know, your mind games worked out in the opposite way, like you actually were doing something more normal? What position does that put Showtime in then?
Okay, so I think then it's I'm now scrolling through the replay to 250 when he's moving across the map with the 2 Stalkers, and this is his like secondary scout. I'm trying to see if he saw that I have no natural. So yeah, so like at exactly 3-minute mark, he sees that I still haven't planted the Nexus. So it's either like a committed proxy Stargate, committed, I don't know, proxy Robo. Like it's just like a bigger commitment, because I should be able to put down a Nexus at around the same time that he does, right? So he, at the 3-minute mark, he already sees something fishy.
Okay.
And okay, so there's yet no Nexus. He goes back. He checks it again with the Stalkers if I planted down the Nexus, and he sees 4 Stalkers from my side. So he goes for a Robo, because there's also possible and a rather popular build to go for Blink on one base, like fake a proxy Stargate or something, and then go for actual Twilight Council in the main base with a 4-gate. And that's like a pretty good counter to the standard play with like Sentries or Stalkers, where you have like an overwhelming amount of Stalkers, where you just blink in on top of the Stalkers, one-shot them, and like the batteries are becoming useless, right? Because you're one-shotting the units, and you can save your Stalkers with the blink. So I think this is what he was really looking forward to defend with the Robo of his own. Plus, the Robo itself is like decent versus proxy Robo. At the very least, you can get like equal amount of Immortals. But yeah, I think like Robo would be bad versus a Stargate. Obviously, if I would be playing, let's say, a fake proxy with 2 Stalkers and then a proxy Stargate somewhere, I don't know, in the corner of the map. I don't know. I cannot ping. Somewhere in the corner map, you know, where it's just a Stargate, and then I expand with 2 Stalkers and a battery, and then suddenly he's, you know, defending with like 4 Stalkers, Nexus, and a Robo. Then I can later on find some damage with the Oracles, and that would be a mind game 1 for me. But if I can't find damage with the Oracles, then it would be at least an equal game, I would say. But still somewhat of an advantage for the Oracle guy, because obviously Oracle versus like no Blink or no Stargates, it's always good to have an Oracle out on the map. It gives you a lot of scouting, potential damage. I would favor the Oracle player then slightly, but yeah, if I can't find any damage, then at least it's equal. But the non-Oracle guy cannot really move out before they have Blink.
Okay. And on the subject of Stargates, got some pretty strong words from the other Protoss players, just making sure that you're in agreement. Stargate, best thing for a Protoss to have, basically? Like, everything else even, I guess? Like, you're not going to be jumped on, or it's not going to be caught, or whatever it is. Stargate's really powerful. So it seems
You
to
mean
be
in PvP?
Yeah, in PvP. Like, if you could get away with a Stargate, you want to get that first.
Okay, if you can get away with Stargate and like not worrying about taking damage on your own, like if you can have a Stargate unit, like let's say an Oracle or double Oracle, and then not investing into additional shield batteries and not take any damage from your side, I think it's always best for the play. Like it's the best opening. There are some situations where you are kind of like investing into the defense. Let's say you're going for an Oracle, but then you're kind of unsure if your opponent is going for an Oracle. You don't have that confirmation scout. And then you invest into the shield batteries or like additional stalkers, and your opponent is like just greedy. No Stargate, Twilight Council first, Sentry Stalker, Nexus, Sentry, stuff like that, like just pure economical focus, and then you invest into the Oracles, and if you can't find damage there at all, like not even a single probe, then it can be tricky for the Oracle player. But it's kind of like a luck thing, because you kind of give like the openings have already been chosen before they really get into the play. Then I would favor the non-Stargate player most of the time. But like I would say in most of the things, Stargate is the best play. It's just like one of the instances that Stargate would be worse against.
Okay. Great. And then my last question about this particular game is that, we go to 5:15 or something like that, and Showtime has yet to scout you again. Knows that the warp, that's being warp prisms in the back. Just kind of seems to default to assuming that you're going to go into a robotics bay because he's getting a Stargate already. Or is that the case? So why is he getting a Stargate? And what if, like, is there an option where you do not go into disruptors, you actually expand behind this type of opener?
With the proxy robot, let's say first from the attacker side, I think there are two options. You can keep on warping in units and stay aggressive and not expand, and like not let the guy go down from the ramp to the expansion, and try to contain him there. It kind of is difficult to do because usually there should be like a battery around with a shield battery overcharge, and with the warp prism micro, like it might not be a favorable fight, but it's a possibility that you can do, or try to kill him before he sets up an expansion battery. So like you kind of lure the guy to go down the ramp, expand, they create batteries, and then you attack the moment the batteries are still not done yet. So like you get a favorable fight there. Or you expand and go for a normal game, and you kind of like say, okay, I canceled your expansion, and I'll try to get ahead economically faster than you are because I still have an army down the ramp. And then from the defender side, from Showtimes, you were talking about the Stargate. So first of all, it's the best thing to counter the warpism harassment with. If you are going to be staying on the Robotech and the aggressive guy is already the aggression guy already has the advantage of being already out on the map with the warpism and the immortals. So if you want to do any kind of like counter harassment, you really cannot, because the moment you move out or you move out with a couple of your units with your own warpism, two immortals fly into your base and they trade super efficiently, or just a straight up committed attack comes in. Like it's just impossible to move out. So that's why you get a Stargate and the Phoenixes to counter the warpism harassment. Plus, if I am going for the disruptor follow-up, they counter the disruptor. So they basically counter the two of the potential follow-ups. If I'm expanding behind this and he's going for a Robo and Stargate on one base, then it's a bit more tricky because the Phoenixes will not find damage immediately. Yeah. And if I have an expansion done, then it can really be tricky. But you can still kind of find damage later on, because from the aggression guy, the guy who's not making Phoenixes, he will have later blink or smaller amounts of stalkers. So then the Phoenixes over time will be able to find damage, and then the game kind of just goes on.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, wonderful breakdown. Anything else about this game for Dragon? Or Mana?
Not from my side.
Yeah, either one of you.
You go first.
No, I mean it's like just a proxy robo game, for me. Nothing really much more to add, I think.
Okay.
My only question that I was gonna ask is it's only kind of about this game, because I know like with your follow-up attack and everything, with the thing like the attack that actually ends the game, you're mostly just warping in adepts and everything. But when you do have like the Stalker Disruptor kind of army and like smaller amounts of stuff, and you encounter the Phoenix, is there like any kind of specific logic, or is it a lot of gut intuition on when you're deciding like, am I gonna bother trying to focus down the Phoenix versus do I just let my stalkers engage versus their army? Or is it just a gut thing, or is there like some rationale behind it?
Yeah, pretty much a gut feeling. Like if you have enough stalkers to two-shot the phoenixes, I'm not entirely sure about the number exactly. But yeah, like if your army can withstand while also sniping the phoenixes, like it really depends on the army, you know. Like if there are force fields, if there are batteries, it just depends on the army positioning. If there are batteries nearby, if there are force fields, if you have enough stalkers to fight the phoenixes, if the disruptor shot will actually force the immortals to be picked up. It's a very situational thing, I would say. It's impossible to answer that, I think.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. That's kind of what I figured. There's too many variables to just
exactly
have an answer for every situation.
Cool.
All right. Let's quickly go through the second PvP. Once we all
Quickly.
reload. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we need to restart StarCraft, right, or something like that.
Yes.
It kind of automatically restarts. Oh my god.
Very annoying.
Please.
Very unfortunate timing. Roddy's in chat and says, your PvPs are very quick, so it's no problem.
I mean, versus the better players, they're very quick because I either win quick or I lose quick, I suppose. Hey, I did beat the Showtime. I did beat MaxPax a couple of times in longer games as well. So I'm not sure what you're on about, Kevin.
Thank you for reminding me that this is being streamed. I actually completely forgot
that. So the next one was that was Babylon. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
I'm still entering StarCraft, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
Samesies.
Authentication, guys.
That's okay. At least we got a patch this time. It wasn't like fixed tooltip and co-op commander.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, Babylon now.
So let me know.
Now, like in this replay, I'm still not in, but like in general, in this replay, there's like so many mind games going on. I think, and I'm not sure what am I allowed to say.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not part of the tournament, so from my side, I think I can kind of like lay off the spill all the beans from my side, I suppose. But I'm not sure. Okay, I'm loaded in. I'm ready to go. If you are ready to go.
Yep. Okay. Ready.
Okay, times 2. Let's go.
Yeah.
So this is the 1 gate expand map, and I kind of started doing, instead of 1 gate expand, I started going for the low ground double gateway. So the reason why I'm doing that is because 1 gate expand is kind of so figured out, and it's not really figured out from my side. Like I don't feel super comfortable doing that, like other players are. So I just wanted to create a little bit of chaos in here. And Showtime really likes his build orders clean, and I kind of knew what he is going to do, so I wanted to kind of disrupt that. And it's been working somewhat well for me. I wanted to see how he's going to react to the double gateway. And yeah, so I go for the double gateway on the low ground, and he might think this is on the lane, this is an expansion, I'm not sure. We did play some custom games before, and I did do double gateway before versus him, and I did do variations where I all in. I did do variations where it was just a normal economical opening with an expansion behind it. So that's the first mind game I'm talking about. Yeah, I block his expansion as much as I can with the probe on the other side of the map, while also spotting if he's going for a Stargate or second gateway or Robo, whatever it is. But most of the time from the 1 gate expander, it is going to be a Stargate. And this is what I wanted him to go for. And I'm going for the Adepts on the other side of the map. I got a very lucky cybernetic score at the last moment to block his expansion even further. And in the middle of the map, I'm sniping one of his Adepts because I know the 1 gate expand player wants to get... I'll pause right now because there's like a little bit of things to explain. So the 1 gate expander most of the time wants to make an Adept because it's the cheaper unit, and it gives you like a confirmation scout. Whether the opponent is expanding or what units they are making. So I knew Showtime is going to move it across the map immediately without like confirming if it's safe or not. Because if it's only stalkers from my side, he can shade once and then he can save the Adepts without a problem. But because I made Adepts as well, my shade finished the moment his shade finished, and that's why we met in the middle of the map together. and I was able to snipe his adept. So right now, if you look at the Showtime's vision, he has no idea if I am expanding or not, while I have a full confirmation of what is he doing. I resume the replay now. I see the Oracle moving, and I make a Stargate in the meantime as well to counter his Oracle. And of course, yeah, he has no idea what tech I'm going for. I could be doing 4-gate expand or whatever. And yeah, I just completely shut down the Oracle here with both the Phoenixes and the Stalker. In the meantime, I'm trying to shade as much as possible to his natural to make sure he uses some of his money to the wall off. He doesn't always go like below 100 because he needs to keep like 100 minerals in his wall off because of the adept shade.
Can I ask a quick question?
Of course.
So with the Phoenix, whenever like you have a situation where you know that your opponent's gone for an Oracle, you're making like the responsive Phoenix to try and snipe it. Is there any like special decision making on where you're placing your Phoenix? Like typically the Oracle's heading to the main base, so you put it there, versus you're just reading like past history with your opponent and stuff?
Yeah, like you kind of have a feeling of where the Oracle should be. Sometimes it will fly behind the natural, sometimes it will fly behind the main, sometimes it will be like in between the main and the natural. So you kind of want to put it into like the most optimal spots, so like between the bases, same with the Stalkers, while also keeping some of the vision outside of the map with, on the edges of the main with like pylons and so on. I don't necessarily have had this in this game, with the edges of the pylons to see it, but like I kind of felt that there's no damage to be done in the natural base, so I kept the Stalkers and the Phoenixes close to the main base, and I knew Showtime would have to confirm if I'm going for an expansion or not in the meantime.
Gotcha. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, because I sniped his Oracle, I also went for a DT Shrine as soon as possible. It would be unwise for him to go for the second Oracle because I have a Phoenix out already, or double even Phoenix out. So I was playing around the fact that he would not have detection immediately.
Okay.
It's not the most common follow-up, but like in this game, it just made sense. What minute are you in? Because I kind of like paused and unpaused in the meantime I was talking.
Yeah, 4:38 for me.
4:30. Okay, I'll go back. I'm like 6 minutes in. 4:30. Okay, I'm live.
Okay.
So yeah, the small push out. I was just trying to cause some chaos because I knew there's no potential for him to do damage on the other side of the map. I thought maybe I can get the adepts in, or just trying to do something with my army that I currently have, while also like distracting Showtime as much as I can for the Dark Shrine, because I knew this is going to be my plan after killing the Oracle. So the more chaos there is, the more likely it is that he will forget about the exact timing of the Dark Shrine possibility, you know? Because he needs to like warp in additional Stalkers or pull additional probes. Just like a couple of seconds here and there can really win you a game.
Wow.
And yeah, I try to distract him as much as I can with the Oracle. I warp in the DTs. One of the things that Showtime will do now, and something that is very common in PvP and the best players really do, I pause right now. Wait, I'll pause in a second, I'll tell you exact timing. It's 6:10 right now.
Okay.
And yeah, one of the things that a lot of the Protosters do, and I do it myself, is when you're going for the logo to expand, you have this kind of wall with the three big buildings in the natural base, and you have a battery nearby. Even if you don't have a detection, you can kind of defend Dark Templars by holding position with a Stalker, and then the Dark Templars cannot go through the natural, right? They cannot go to the main base unless they have like a Warpism around, or there's like a direct, I don't know, Blink DTs. That's not really a thing, right? That early into the game. So you basically plug in the wall off with the battery, and this is what Showtime does here. He plugs in the wall with the Stalkers. I unpause now, and then by the time the Dark Templars can like get through the shield battery damage and so on, you kind of get a robot on time. But if there are like 2 or 3 Dark Templars, there's like a lot of chaos going on. You might not have it on time. What I wouldn't mind Showtime to do is just to start an Oracle, but you can see how well he's trying to buy time with all the walls and the hold positions and so on. So the Dark Templars, even though he has no detection whatsoever, the DTs are not doing any damage whatsoever.
Right. I mean, okay. Yeah, still doesn't buy enough time. Good crisis management for sure. My question about this entire game though is that like, you know, you're talking about it and it's like the puppet master, you're pulling all the strings and Showtime's just forced to kind of follow along. How does that stop? because you put it so succinctly, and it seems like there's nothing else that Showtime can do in his position. But clearly what you're doing doesn't work every single time. Otherwise, no one would do what Showtime was doing. So at
Yeah,
what point does this
absolutely.
kind of have to unravel for you not to be in control?
So it's like a snowball effect from the very beginning of the game, where I was able to block his nexus for as long as I could with the pylon and then the cybernetic score. Then the second thing that happened is he didn't get a confirmation scout with the adept that died in the middle of the map, because well, I just knew it's going to be there. I think he came back. I want to go back with the replay to the beginning, and I want to see what he did with his scouting probe, because at some point I think he either left or it got killed. But I want to see what exactly he did with his scouting probe, because
Didn't die.
it all could have been prevented if the scouting probe would have maybe been in my base for longer. I want to see. I didn't really analyze this game that much,
Yeah,
but yeah,
he
you're
left
right.
with it.
Yeah.
He left around like 2:15 or so.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. 2:15 for me.
Yeah.
2:20. Yeah, and he's just leaving. You can see he could keep it still in my base. Like I haven't shown any of my tech. He didn't see if I am going out with any of the gateway units, like if it's Stalker, if it's Adept. He had no idea. If he keeps this probe around for longer, he would at least confirm what the gateway units are, and therefore he would be able to at least take the different route with the Adept. And then the Adept might not die. If his Adept doesn't die, he can maybe get a confirmation scout on my natural. If my natural is so delayed, he would be maybe more careful with the Oracle. So yeah, like this little small piece of information can really change the game, I would say.
Yeah, that's excellent then. And is there any way for him to stop the snowball afterwards? Or is it kind of just is it a pro gamer thing where you saw this happen minute 4 and you're like, okay, Showtime's dead?
No, I was a little bit lucky with the DTs maybe. That he didn't make a robot slightly earlier. Like he could have stalkers in position to deal with the Oracle. He didn't. He could have had battery in the middle lines for the Oracle. He didn't. A couple of pro pulls here and there delayed his robotics facility by so much that the DTs pretty much finished the game. Even though if we look at the worker count by the end of the game, I'm trying to forward to like 6:30. Or so. It's really not that different. I did some damage with the Oracle. He lost some units. He lost 7 workers, but it's really not that different. But even though like everything went right for me, he has a third base like halfway done. I haven't even started mine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
okay.
really not that bad.
All right. And someone just asking about that lack of Oracle being produced. So I wanted to double check the gases.
At the moment of the DTs attacking?
Yeah. And it's because he warped in sentries to try and... Because if he didn't warp in sentries to force field, then he could have killed the Stargate, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And the battery overcharge will run out eventually. And yeah, like he needs the force fields for the DT. There's 3 DTs already. That's like a lot of damage. He needs the force fields immediately.
Yeah.
The Oracle might not even go out on time. And it's like a very narrow timing. It's just not worth it. It's much better to keep the wall alive and survive for the robotics facility, which is close to being done.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's it's a good detail to look out for. Okay, great. Any other notes about this one?
Not for me.
Okay.
Sweet.
Great. That was awesome for PvP.
One note,
yeah,
maybe,
go ahead.
because this is not going to be a very standard thing going into the Katowice, I think, because I still went for the double gate expand instead of the singular expand.
Right.
And even though this is the one gate expand, you might see more of one gate versus one gate. I'm not sure if anyone will be doing something similar to what I did here. It was just like my approach to this particular game. I'm not really sure if this is the fix for the one gate expand versus one gate expand, but in this particular game everything went right for me.
Right.
And there still could be things that I could do better, or maybe Showtime could do much better as well. Like we noticed the scouting of the probe, but yeah, this is not going to be a common thing, I think, in PvP.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Wait, sorry, sorry, I have a phone call. 1 second.
Sure.
Oh, I have a package coming. Can we wait like 5 minutes or something? I mean, we can keep keep talking, but I will need to pick up the package in like, I don't know, 3 or 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. Okay, so I'll just wait for the door to ring. I have like a big package for my dog.
Okay. So what's the first game of your Rainer series?
Let me see. Which one was that? I need to log in again. It's authenticating. I think Resvan was game number 2, if I remember correctly. And let me see. Replace. Yeah, it was Neo Humanity into Resvan.
Okay.
So let's start with Neo Humanity. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big mismatch, me versus Rainer. Even though, like, a lot of the times when I'm playing versus Rainer, I tend to take games of him. Not necessarily the series, but most of the time when I play versus him, I feel like I could have at least taken a game of him, or I actually took a game of him. I'm not sure why that exactly happens, because he tends to even beat the best Protoss players, 3-0, 5-0, and so on. And for me, sometimes I can get some mind games going versus him. I'm not really sure if he underestimates me or I'm not sure what's going on there.
Ravy.
Yeah. Okay, I'm loaded in.
Yeah, okay. We'll go ahead and go. You ready, Fear?
Yep. Oh
Okay.
yeah, I started.
Yeah, so it's fine. So just first thoughts about Neo Humanity in this matchup.
I feel like it's a very difficult map. Like, it feels enormous, like it's actually huge. Lots of open spaces to attack from or like flank from. And like the middle base even has a rich geyser, and especially I think the creep spread is so easy for Zerg to do, at least until half of the map, because it's all like on the same level, there's no like up ramp thing. So it's very easy to creep spread for the Zerg, and not really much Oracle movement. The only thing that really comes to mind is like the area between the triangle third and the main base, where you could kind of idle the Oracle in one direction or the other, but you don't really have a sweet spot, let's say, between the main or the natural.
Gotcha.
I think it's kind of difficult to do very good Oracle harassment. Like, there's not enough space behind the dead space where Oracles could fly and not be targeted by the Queens. Oh, one second, I have the door now. Right back.
Okay.
Very quick.
Just pausing.
Every time I look at this map and I look at that high rich Vespian base, like say on MaNa's side, those minerals just look off to me.
Yeah. Well, this map is off. This is the one that has all of the improper saturation
Mineral.
counts.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's just like, I know that it's actually wrong, but it also just looks wrong immediately, because you look at it and you're like, why is there a big crystal so close to the thing?
Yeah, you're right.
That's like forward. Yeah.
Compare it to the natural.
Yeah. Like, at a glance, it looks off. It's not like I started clicking around and it looks different. It's like, oh, this just immediately looks wrong.
Remember, folks, the campaign mission designers had like minerals every which way.
The Brood War campaign.
Yeah, the Brood War
it was
campaign.
like, yeah.
If we had stuck with
Oh
them
my
for the
God.
map makers, it would have been fun.
This base requires 47 workers to saturate. Like, what?
Yes.
But there's only 5 mineral patches. Like, yeah, 2 of them are close and 4 of them are 8 X's away.
Just saying, add some spice to StarCraft too. How about minerals on the opposite side of the Nexus?
I actually think it would be fascinating to just see like a map like that.
Well, there's what was it? Was it Tal'Darim that had so much space in the back of the minerals that Jakshi hit a command center back there against Lenok? Yeah.
I remember that.
Like, it was a hidden base to begin with, sure, but then it was extra hidden.
That was great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, back. Okay, sorry.
No
Welcome
worries.
back.
All right. And we're going. So, yeah, Neo Humanity, not good for Oracle positioning. Creep spread's really easy, and lots of open spaces.
Yes, yeah, that's at least my first impression. It feels like a veto, to be honest. It feels like too big. Also good for swarm hosts, especially the the position behind the gold minerals, you know, the behind the natural thing. You can easily go there with swarm hosts. Yeah, even Niduses. You know, you can really go that far with Nidus swarm host. Swarm host has been quite popular, I would say, recently. At least for the memes from Rainer in the ESL Open Cups. I saw him do it
Yeah.
pretty much every game.
Yep. So you let this through this time, just because what you're getting used to the maps.
Yeah. So in this game in particular, I was going, I think, for this kind of like the max packs 3-gate, 6-gate thing, where it's like a new variation of the glaive build. You might be seeing it in Katowice or maybe not, but I'm not sure. Maxpack has been doing it for quite some time, so most of the Zergs might already be used to it. So you start with the 3 gateways instead of like a Twilight Council Robo. And then you warp in adepts, so you like kind of move out with the 5 adepts at the beginning of the phase slightly faster, like 4:10, 4:15 or something like that. But then you have the warping of 6 adepts instead of only 4. It does hit a little bit later, but you have much more game killing potential. Where if the Zerg is slightly out of position, you have like the 6 gate adepts of consistent warpins. That was basically not like it doesn't have to be unnecessary all in. There are possibilities of either going Dark Shrine or Robotics Bay behind it, but if you want to make it as soon as possible, you basically have to like commit all the resources for the 6 gate, and it does kind of feel like an all-in.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that was when you expand into Twilight Council and then 2 gateways, and then Resonant Glaives?
Yes. Yes, and then Robo, and then 3 more gateways.
Okay.
When you transition to the Dark Shrine there, when do you get your 3rd and 4th Gas Geysers?
That's a good question. I don't do it very often.
Fair enough.
I think like the moment you like did your first warping of adepts, you kind of need to have the minerals for the first 6 adepts. So I think after that you should be able to invest into the Dark Shrine. You don't need to warp in, 4 Dark Templars or 5 Dark Templars immediately. I think if you can afford Dark Shrine, do it. And then try to find your gas amount to the amount of Dark Templars that you can deal damage with. Sometimes it's even better to have less gas and like a faster 3rd base instead of more gas, because they cannot kill you if you have Dark Templars. They don't know if you're going to warp in 2, 3, or 4 aggressively or defensively. So I think it's it's not really set in stone, I would say. Well, at least not from my part.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah, I like to follow it up with the Disruptor Drop to get like constant value, especially since he already had like a lot of roaches for the adepts. But yeah, Raynor is just, as you can see, look at the creep thread. It's like the entire side of the Raynor's map is like covered, and like how do you even find damage? Like I can only try through the right side of this map, but there's even a spore connecting the 4th base. It's very hard to deal any kind of damage to the Zerg, I think, on this one. He even takes the middle expansion, which will have a rich gas, so additional boost to the economy. I think it's a very difficult map.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any differences with the creep nerf?
No, not at all. No,
Okay.
absolutely zero.
Okay, just double checking. I kind of figured.
Yeah. Like the only thing I noticed is, well, not even noticed, was like I can kind of see it, is clearing creep with the Observer. The Observer is slightly faster, so you can kind of run away with the Queens, but it's not really the case anyway. Like it's really difficult. So yeah, basically Raynor just crushed me here. The map makes it very difficult to deal damage, and it's a very large map, so maybe it's not even the smartest map to do it on. Usually you want to do these kind of adept pushes on the smaller maps, because the timing hits a little bit faster and it's less time for the Zerg to prepare. But I did it on this map simply because it's so bad on this map, like some kind of mind game. They never expect you to do something that stupid, and yeah, well, it didn't work.
The chat's pointing out your wall in the natural, and saying like it is it 2 building wallable?
I don't think so. I think it's 3 buildings, because if we look at the left gateway in the cybernetics core, there's still a spot between the edge of the 2nd gateway. There's a small gap there.
Oh, for sure, for your wall, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 3 gateways, but I'm not really sure. I haven't really tested it that much, to be honest. Like for me, it doesn't matter that much as long as it's like a 3 building wall, it's fine for me.
Mhm.
If it's 2 gateways, then sure you can kind of like on some maps. For example, in the previous map, I think it was Cosmic Sapphire and Moon Dance, where you could do 2 building walls, and
Yeah.
that could possibly get you in PvZ the faster third base because you don't need to invest into either another pylon or another gateway to the wall of 2 to be safe, and you use that money to get a faster nexus. But on this map in particular, I'm not 100% sure if this can be two buildings. It doesn't look like it, but I would need to test it.
Yeah, I actually looked up because Gemini just released his walling guide and stuff, so it looks like it is 2 building wallable. There's a lot more surface area when you 2 building wall though
Okay,
on
let me
like
see.
one of the buildings. I would feel uncomfortable. 2
Wait,
building wall.
yeah, it does look like it. Yeah, it's even like a 2 gap. That looks very good. Neo Humanity, 2 buildings only.
The gateway looks like it has a lot of surface area if you're getting busted, right?
Well, it's not necessarily about the surface area. It's just that if you've like if there's only 1 pixel gap, then the links can kind of slip through. But on the pictures that you sent, it does look like there's only 2 pixels. You know, the 2 blocks wall, which is the perfect wall off. That way you can put your unit in a position where the links don't get the maximum amount of damage, and they will not slip through accidentally if you don't put your unit in the perfect position. I don't trust this. Is this really 2 buildings? What? I don't trust this. It does. I mean, it does look like it, but
you can take command in the replay and test it.
Can I? Wait.
Because it's an old replay. I don't think so.
Oh shoot, you're right.
Yeah. It's like every time someone thinks like this could be perfect for take command, it's always an old replay. It's always broken.
Yeah, I cannot do that.
Yeah. Oh well.
But yeah, it does look like it can be double. Should I test it right now? Just so you know, like in Katowice you can be, but you know this Protest player is doing it wrong because it actually can be 2 building. Well, Mana said that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I'll log in real quick. I want to test it.
Go ahead.
Authenticating. Yeah, I think the second game with Rainer is much more interesting, especially because like the build that I'm doing, it's kind of a secret build. Like I secretly practice it, and I think it's very good mind game wise. At least for one off game in tournament, it can really confuse the steady flow of the Zergs.
Okay, cool.
Okay, let me first quickly test it.
Go through the chat list, ban any pro players who are in the chat right now. Keep it secret.
Keep it. Yeah, nobody cares what I do now anyway. I'm not part of the Katowice thing. There's a mod like fast build or something. How do I do that?
Shoot. Let me find that mod again.
Resources.
Advanced unit tester mod is helpful, I think.
Advanced unit tester mod? Okay.
Yeah. Advanced unit tester mod.
Okay.
And then just make Neo Humanity with that.
Yep. Okay. Well, this is exciting. Maybe I will learn something new. I mean, to be honest, I haven't tested the maps enough to know 100%. So that's my excuse. Let me see. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm making the wall right now. Let's see. Wait, I made a pylon and a drone popped out of the pylon. What the hell is this?
What?
What?
Wait, what?
Seriously, a drone with energy popped out of the pylon. Nice mod, man.
I swear this doesn't usually happen. Oh my god, it happened to me too.
It is a 2 building wall, indeed.
There you go.
That's perfect.
All right. Well, can almost guarantee Hero's gonna mess it up. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be amusing.
Yeah, it feels like it shouldn't be a 2 building wall, but it is. Okay, good to know. That
Yeah.
might make the map a little bit more playable with a faster third base, possibly. Good to know.
Twitch
the
chat
terrain
taught
is-
us something.
Yay!
Yeah.
Twitch chat GMs. I mean, it's not fair because they've seen multiple games of different people. You know,
Mm,
I only see the games of myself.
that's true.
Okay, I'm loading in to Gresvan.
Okay.
Every time I have a loading bar, loading an old replay, I'm looking forward to Stormgate.
That will be nice.
But yeah. Oh, by the way, I kind of feel like I'm kind of like casting these games. Like I'm not sure if this is what you're looking for. Like feel free to ask questions or stop me because I'm not
Oh,
sure if I'm
it's-
saying the right things.
No, it's absolutely perfect.
I find it
It's
super
fantastic.
helpful. So
Yeah, no, it's great.
Okay. I'm loaded in. Are you?
Yep.
Okay, let's start.
So the map, PVZ, what do you think?
Again, large, but I feel like, at least from my opinion so far, it hasn't been that bad. Like, it feels like I can at least secure some of the expansions, but once the rocks are destroyed, in like, let's say, if we're looking at the bottom side of the map, there's like rocks in the middle. Once these rocks are destroyed, there's like so many attack paths. So if you want to take a fourth base, I'm not really sure which one you want to take as a Protoss. If it's like the linear one or maybe the middle one, I'm not sure. It depends on the playstyle, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like securing a fourth base might have a bigger impact than I know. But yeah, like I find it very trouble, like a lot of trouble to take a fourth base and save it, because there's like a lot of attack paths later on. But overall, I really don't mind this map that much. Like it doesn't have rich Vespin geysers or gold minerals. So yeah, that's at least that's better than New Humanity, I would say.
And you're a type Protoss that almost always blocks the hatchery, right?
Like every game, like
Yeah.
100% of the game. This has become like my absolute standard. I think it's just worth it. Like whenever I get the Zerg the freedom to expand in the natural, and let's say I'm not going for a scout and gas first, like a lot of the pro Protosses want to do, like Showtime and I think Hearthstone likes to do that. They don't scout but then make gas first. That's sure that does increase like the timing of the oracles or the adept, and you have a little bit more economy. But I think it's more significant to delay the Zerg than it is to have an oracle 3 or 4 seconds faster, but they still have queens in position, you know. Plus, I think the biggest weakness of this is that the Zerg gets the creep spread out on the map very early on. As you can see, Raynor is already like creep spread in the middle of the map, like 4-minute mark, with the very first creep tumor. So that's the biggest issue, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, you did this versus Raynor the second time you guys met. Didn't work though.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked here?
I mean, I'm not saying it worked. Do you want to spoil it?
I think you did. I think I know the results, so never mind. But
yeah. I mean, I lost the game, but like this was the game where it was actually surprising to Raynor. He didn't know what was going on, and I think you mean the last time we played, right? Like a couple of days ago.
Yeah, like literally a couple days ago.
Yeah. So I was like after 5 days of break without Starka, so I didn't really play.
Oh,
that
okay.
well, so.
Oh, I see what you did differently. So that the game that you just played a few days ago, you did the actual like Colossus Disruptor follow up. Okay,
Exactly.
this is the
so
2
this is a bit
Stargate.
tricky.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I wanted to mind game him based on what we played the week ago. So he would think this is the strategy that I'm doing right now, and I was just going for the Disruptor all in. But yeah, in this particular build, what I want to do is consistently Disruptor drop, get as much damage as I can with the Disruptors every time they're off cooldown, get a drone pull, get a single queen, anything that I can get with the Disruptors while also taking to the Phoenixes, because the most common response to this is going to be Mutas, right? The Zerg will want to get the advantage of not having a Stargate unit, so I'm going with double Stargate behind it immediately, while also going a singular Colossus, which will deal very well with any kind of like link run bys and help me secure a fourth base relatively early. As we can see, I have like barely any units out on the map, but I got very efficient trades with the disruptors. If you look at the units lost up, I killed like 13 units total. I'm not too far behind when it comes to the workers. I have the counter to the Hydras, which is the Colossus and the disruptors, plus I have a relatively early 4th base. I don't have a lot of production facilities. I have only like 2 gateways, 2 stargates, and a robo. But I know the Zerg cannot really go across the map because of the disruptors and the Colossus. So like that's kind of like the thought process of the build, to get a faster 4th base and like fully economically focused while also harassing with the disruptors. But Raynor did not really take that much damage.
I guess not.
When you're sending in the Hallucinating Phoenix, are you mostly just scouting around to see like if there's like hive tech or something coming around, or like what are you specifically worried about?
Oh yeah, so I'm looking what kind of unit composition they go for. If it's a hive, like if there's a hive on the way, I know I'm like more on the clock. If there's no hive, it's very likely he will attack me. Like I saw no hive here, and I should be expecting an attack. And this one, I'm not really prepared for. I think soon, like he's going to like roll over me, because I thought he's like, there's no way he can break me. I already had like sentries, a lot of sentries, a couple of disruptors, and a lot of High Templars. And I thought there's no way he's going to try like brute force me through. And I wasn't expecting him to attack me. I have the perfect army composition to what he's going to be attacking me with, even a pretty decent spread. And yeah, now not really knowing the map exactly, I kind of move out of position, and this is the moment he attacks me at the 10-minute mark. And if I was ready with my army, I think I would have crushed it. But it was like one of the first games that I played on this map, so I wasn't really aware of the unit pathing and where I should be attacking from, or where is he going to attack from. I already had like the good unit composition to deal with what he had, but yeah, I was just not in position to deal with that. And I think the opening really got me in a good position. Like there's no hive, I have Storm, Disruptor. I was about to get on 5 bases. I was very happy with the position I was in, but yeah, because I was slightly out of position, the game just kind of like died on me.
You said Spire is an option against the Disruptor Colossus push?
Not versus Disruptor Colossus push, but like when like he saw I'm taking a 3rd base, so it's not the Disruptor Colossus push.
Okay.
I mean, it still could be like the way that Zaun did it at, I think, Home Story Cup, where he still had a 3rd base, but like there's very little probes. I think like overall, if you're opening up with a robotics facility, there's like a 99% chance there is going to be a Spire, similar to the Twilight Council openers. Basically, no Stargate opener equals Spire very, very often.
Yeah. Okay, that makes total sense. I thought you were talking about the attack, and I was like, I haven't seen people defend with meters.
That would be awkward.
Yeah.
That's very expensive.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes more sense. Yep. Okay. So yeah, great idea. Just map works against you. Oh boy. Okay. We're already at 1 hour and 5 minutes, so can't really get too much into PvT. We can just go over Katowice and some of your thoughts on like how the groups are going to perform and the players. Any kind of big notes you have, like, oh, this guy's been playing a lot of Ling Baneling, generic stuff like that. I want to go ahead and just open up Wikipedia at this point.
I mean, to be honest, when it comes to the PvT, I'm so lost in the matchup right now. I don't think I would have anything smart to say, to be honest.
Okay.
Definitely not anything smarter that Showtime or Hearthstone or Astrea would have to say.
Gotcha.
I'm really bad at the matchup currently.
It sounds like it's going to be very difficult. I mean, it just like logically, when the Protoss line out what has changed in the matchup with the patch, it just makes so much sense that this would be extremely difficult. The only outlier is honestly like Clem has not been performing very well versus Protoss, even with the new patch.
Yes, that's true. He's been kind of underperforming, but I secretly hope that he's holding back for Katowice, because he tends to be a guy who likes to surprise you with different kinds of builds. And I think recently he's been spamming the same builds all over again, and that's why it's not really working well. I think he might have something prepared. I hope so.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're all kind of hoping for that. Oh, excuse me. So first of all, let's go off the round of 36. Who do you think is going to make it through?
Okay, let me see the bracket first. Round of 36. It's 4 players, right? Going through.
Yeah. Top 2,
looking
bottom
at
2.
A laser, of course.
Of course.
Okay, let me see. A laser T-ball. Okay, I'll go maybe one match at a time. Let's see. So it's going to be a laser T-ball, so a laser there. Super Young. I think Ryang has been surprisingly good at times, but also surprisingly result-wise weak, I would say. Like when it comes to the games, like when I played him in where were we? Austin? No, wait, where were we now?
Atlanta?
Atlanta. I played him, and he felt super good, but then he didn't really have a very good result. So maybe I am just that bad. But anyway, Su versus Ryong. That's an even match. I think it's really hard to predict. This really can be either way. Su generally, the better player when it comes to the results, but recently not so hot. So yeah, it's tough to say. Nightmare Chan, Nightmare, I would say he's been on a tear, doing very well. Like improvement-wise, I think Nightmare is definitely someone to look out for. Definitely still does a lot of mistakes here and there, and it's like part of, I would say, the process that we can look out for, but not part of the very top yet. He still should probably beat Chan. Classic Scarlet, that's a tricky one. I think Classic can really come in very prepared or also very unprepared. He had a lot of underwhelming games when I watched him play some time ago, while also having some games where I was surprised that he won, even though he was severely behind. So he's a bit of a question mark for me, Classic that is. And Scarlet, yeah, I'm not sure what form. Like, if she feels like playing well, she can play super well as well. So I'm not sure about that one. That's a tough matchup. Like, Suryong and Classic Scarlet are extremely even, I would say. And then Cure Armani. I would always favor Cure, but I feel like recently he hasn't been performing as beastly as we are kind of used to see him perform. I haven't really followed him that much though, so it's hard to say. Harstem, nice. I mean, Harstem solidly should win, maybe. But Nice is a very strong Protoss as well. That's an even match as well for this round, I would say. Hard to predict. Depending on the day, I would say. Maybe Nice will be super, jet-lagged or something. Spirit has... I mean, Spirit is very good in PvT, but has mind games and so on could really... Like, Spirit is not very good offline, I would say, when like a lot of cheeses are happening. When I played versus him in Atlanta, I like cheesed him and he felt worse than usual on the ladder. I think like the pressure gets to him, so I would maybe even favor Has there. And Coffee Zone, yeah, I mean, that's rather easy for Zone, I would say. Zone uses the used to beat Maru and so on, so it should be an easy win for Zone. But like over the 4 people to advance. I want to say Zaun would be one of them. From the top bracket, maybe Scarlet or Classic. Yeah, like it's hard to say from the top of the bracket. It's only one person. Maybe Scarlet, if she has a good day. Like I would see her winning at least to the qualifying match. And then in the qualifying match, who could stop her? Su or Ryang? Or maybe Elazer if he gets there with the ZVZ, crazy ZVZ. That would be a fun match. I don't think there's like a clear winner in the top side of the bracket. In the bottom side of the bracket, I would say Zaun or Cure would be the favorites to qualify through the winner bracket. And then maybe from the lower bracket would be again the loser of Cure or Zaun. And then possibly Su or Classic or Scarlet. Or maybe Elazer. Like Elazer can really show up sometimes, with very strong mechanics. If he's feeling it, he can really beat the best in the world. And I hope he will be feeling it. At least he has a, let's say, an quote-unquote easy first round matchup to get a warm-up, get used to the venue.
Yeah.
And then get the next games going. But on the other hand, because the matchup might be so easy, the next matchup might be, twice as hard because it's already, the second round and the other guy had a warm-up as well. So it might be a double-edged sword. So yeah. I would say, Zaun would be almost like a locked qualified player here. I'm not sure who else would be like a locked player.
Okay.
It's hard to say.
Fair enough. Main events. Yeah, what do you think about I guess like the non-Koreans' chances to make it to the round of 12?
Well, luckily for Climb, he doesn't have too many Protosses, right?
Yeah.
But he has strong CVTs though, like Dark and Ragnarok. But at least this time he will not be forced to play on NA server. Like he really hates playing NA server versus Zerg players because obviously the turn micro on NA server is like so important. I'm looking forward to see him perform in Group A. I think Neeb secretly will do very well. Like I'm always surprised how well Neeb can play. He has so much potential to be one of the best players in the world, and he's always like around that level. And he can lose versus the worst players overall, but he's so stable and like so impressive some of the times. And he also doesn't have this kind of thing that Showtime has. I think that's what makes Neeb slightly better from time to time, where Neeb can go crazy. He can go crazy tactics sometimes, do something out of the ordinary, while Showtime will go for the calculated different thing, all in or something, while Neeb might do for more not calculated things, if you know what I mean. So yeah, non-Koreans, it's 3 people advancing, so it depends who gets to Group A, but I would say Neeb and Clem will be fighting for the advance. But I'm like I think Dark should be number 1. I think Dark wants this championship, and like when he feels it, he can dominate the group. But I really wouldn't be surprised if we see Dark losing to Neeb, for example. I think Neeb is very good versus like the top level players, where he understands the game. He kind of struggles more about the crazier stuff. Like all ins, I would say, where it's like less kind of figured out because it's so crazy. It's less used to defend that. So yeah, it's hard to pinpoint right now. It depends who goes to Group A, but I would say Dark number 1, most likely. I wouldn't mind seeing Neeb beating Dark, then Clam, Neeb fighting for maybe 3rd place. I'm not sure where to put Ragnarok really, because he's quite a mystery. He can play very well, right? He got to the finals of GSL, but he also can get really bopped. So yeah, it's kind of a question mark what Ragnarok we're going to be seeing, but I'm not expecting the kind of Ragnarok that is going to be, oh my god, this is a Korean Zerg that is unstoppable. I think he's much more within the reach of the others than possibly Dark could be in a World Championship.
Yeah. Any thoughts about time, Oliveira?
I haven't seen that many games of him, to be honest. I played him a couple of times, I think, in World Team League or something. But yeah, I really haven't seen many of his games. I have no idea why he changed his nickname. So yeah, I don't really have any particular thoughts. I know he's a great player and he can do very well and beat the best. But yeah, I'm not sure at what exact form he currently is.
Okay. Any other notes? Any other groups that you just find particularly interesting? Something to comment on?
Let me see. Well, Hero versus Cheryl would be absolutely amazing for Group C. I'm really looking forward to this match. The standard macro Cheryl and the godlike World Championship caliber Cheryl versus the craziness of Hero. I'm really looking forward to see what Hero is going to bring into the PvZ matchup, because he doesn't have only a single PvZ. He has a couple of PvZs to play with Solar and DRG in the group stage as well. So he cannot really rely on one trickery, one strategy that he's going to bring, like Zest used to do in Katowice with the 4-gate blink, which he invented, and then in the grand finals, I think it was Rogue or Sue who destroyed them with the 4-gate blink. So yeah, I'm looking for what Hero will bring to the PvZ table, especially on these maps. I'm hoping we will see something innovative, and we know Hero can be innovative. And yeah, this has to be something different pretty much every series, and Hero is definitely capable of doing that. Special might not have too many chances there. I'm not sure what kind of form he currently is. I haven't really followed him or his results at all. He did lose to Cham to the LATAM finals, so he might have a tough time here. If he can lose to Cham, like I don't know what was happening. Maybe it was a terrible day for him or something. But if he can lose to Cham, then the chances would not be this high in Group C. Looking forward to the PvPs. I think Astraya has been on like a very big high recently. I think he's been doing so well. He has very cool build orders. Like the way he approaches matchup is somewhat different than what all the Protoss are doing, and he makes it work. So I'm really looking forward how Astraya is going to play. Will we see the shouting creator as well? I'm curious about that. But yeah, I think I'm mostly looking forward to Astraya in Group B. And Group D, not really much to say from my side. Like Maru gonna destroy everybody. Possibly Maru Beyond could be fun. TVT series. But yeah, I'm not sure what to say about Group D. Not really much to comment on there for me.
Okay. And then controversial question. Do you think that we'll have Protoss in the round of 8?
Protoss in the round of 8?
Mm-hmm. It's where they got cut off last year.
First place goes straight to the round of 8, right?
Yeah.
I think we will have a Protoss in round of 8. At least one. And it's very likely it will be based off of PvP in the round of 12. I think that's very likely.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Yeah, I guess that is possible.
Like there's so many times where we have a perfect evenly matched evenly balanced race distribution, but then it turns out it was all PvPs or ZVZs and TVTs. It's like well, they kind of eliminated each other.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like the optimism. Most people are not so optimistic about Protos's chances. I assume you saw the severely low win rate that the Protoss has on the new maps.
No, what's that?
It's like 38% total.
Shit.
For you
So,
guys.
that's why I'm losing all the time. I see. I'm not bad player. It's just the maps and the race, of course.
It's that's what a lot of people are saying. It's obviously skewed every which way, and everyone's been getting used to it and so on and so forth. But yeah, you guys have weren't so good last year and our last map pool. Sorry, with TVP, and then PVZ got even worse for you guys, I guess.
Yeah. I think the maps will make for really favored Zerg matchups in both ZVT and ZVP. I'm not sure, like, it's not going to be extremely one-sided. Like, there were a couple of games in the past where I was like, oh my god, this Protoss is so done, there's nothing he can do, or I wouldn't be able to win this game ever. And then they climb back, and it's like actually Protoss favored. So my understanding of StarCraft can be sometimes wrong, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So I'm looking forward what the Protoss are going to come up with. Definitely, we cannot really follow the current meta. There needs to be prepared some different strategies that are happening right now, especially after the patch changes things a little bit, and that we have new maps, so possibly new timing attacks. I don't know, maybe some all-ins, maybe macro will be better for the Protosses. God knows, but I'm looking forward to see what these guys are going to come up with, and looking forward to try to copy or implement some of the play into my play if it's going to be somewhat successful.
Mm-hmm. I think we're hoping for some surprises with the new patch and new maps for Katowice, but I've already taken up 17 extra minutes, so I just want to thank you very much, Mana, for
of course,
going over everything. And yeah, I guess I'll be watching your stream and all that. So you're content creating for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I'm basically, like, right now, because there's not too many tournaments going on and the EPT hasn't been announced for 2023, I'm taking it easy with the practice and basically just doing content on YouTube at the time, just for some fun stuff, getting to grow my community. And yeah, I hope my insight was useful for you guys. I'm not sure, sometimes I can get lost in my own thought process and I'm not really saying stuff smartly, and especially since English is not my main language, so I'm kind of get lost in words from time to time. So I hope it was understandable.
It was no worries.
Super helpful.
Yeah Absolutely. Well, guys, make sure to follow him on Twitch and YouTube, Twitter and all that. And yeah, thanks, Mana. I'll see you later.
Awesome, thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Bye.